loves a man who's not around. She still can't hear him say. She hears him say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. Sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. Butcher, banker, drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. We got to live together. I am no better, and neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. Love me, hate me, you know me, and then you can make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Amy Schumer, Robert Lee, and Joe Biden.
Wow, 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 wow. This is a dream. Wow. Hello, North Carolina. Happy Halloween. Now, I know I may not look like I'm dressed up, but I swear to you, this is the first time I've worn a bra in 7 months. I'm in costume. So my name's Amy Schumer. You may know me from my movie Trainwreck, which Joe Biden refuses to watch, even though I keep telling him no trains were harmed during the making of the movie. That guy loves trains. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your weekend to support this campaign. I see you, I appreciate you, and I can see in your eyes that we are all feeling the same way. We are ready. We are ready for the sun to come out again. This is it. This is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It really is. We are 3 days away from an election that will shape the world for decades to come. And most importantly to me, we are 1 day away from not having to hear the term October surprise anymore. Everyone loves that dad joke, right? Anything that happens. Oh, must be an October surprise. Shut up! A couple years ago, I got my own October surprise when I took a pregnancy test. But this isn't about me. We are 3 days away from the election, and that's the important part. What are you going to do with your time? I'll tell you what I'm going to do with my time. I'm going to use every hour I have left to make sure that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris become the next president and vice president of the United States of America. That's right. And early voting in North Carolina ends today. And it's Halloween. And you know, every day is Halloween for Donald Trump, just based on bronzer alone. Now, if you're a guy or a woman who doesn't wear a lot of makeup, that's just a joke about how much makeup Trump wears, because it's a lot. It's abnormal. It's a thick orange, almost mud mask, I want to say, with like a pumpkin spice like powder on top. I'm not insulting him. His face always makes me think of the fall and crave a latte. Now, 4 million North Carolinians have already cast their ballots. So if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing here. Get out of here. Go vote. As soon as Dr. Biden finishes her speech, just promise me you'll head straight for the polls for no other reason than to save our democracy. That's the only reason. It's the last day of early voting, so don't wait. And if you've already voted, make sure your friends and family have a plan to vote too. I texted my girls from home, you know, the girls I grew up with, and I asked them, I've been harassing them for 3 months. What's your voting plan? Did anybody vote? I texted them 2 nights ago. I said, has everybody voted yet? One of them said, oh, I'm filling it out and I'm gonna put it in the mail right now. I said, no, it is too late for that. You have to go. She's 8 months pregnant. I said, they'll let you to the front of the line. I'm so glad I stayed on them. We have to be texting people. It's okay to be a little annoying when children are being separated from their parents at the border of our country. And here is the exciting thing. This is what's exciting. All of us have the power to save our democracy. That sounds cliche, right? Because it's true. That's how our country works. When we vote, we win. When we don't vote, we lose. You don't believe me? Here's a Halloween horror story for you. It takes place in 2016. More than 800,000 registered Democrats in North Carolina did not vote. And Donald Trump won this state by fewer than 200,000 votes. That is a scary story, I know. Have you also heard the story about the megalomaniac president who owed millions of dollars to foreign governments all over the world? Who encouraged hate crimes and the violation of women? A president who knowingly spread a lethal virus to his friends and family. That's too scary, right? Putting our frontline workers through the most traumatic time of their lives and putting them in unnecessary danger. It's too scary to imagine. It's real, and we can't afford to have anyone in our lives or our phones sit this election out. It's too important because everything we care about, the very fiber of our beings, our decency, and our health and the health of our loved ones is on the line. And we can make the difference. We have the power to protect a woman's right to make her own decisions about her body, to make it easier to get health care, and harder to shoot up a school filled with our children. And now I want to share something with you that I don't know if you know this, Dr. Biden. I don't think Joe knows this either. But I know it. I was lucky enough to be at the White House when Obama was giving one of his final speeches on ending gun violence. I was lucky enough to be there because of my work with Everytown for Gun Safety. And that's where I saw this interaction. Jimmy Green and his wife Nelba were there. Jimmy Green is a horn player. He's a jazz saxophonist. And their daughter Anna was shot and killed at Sandy Hook, 8 years old. And Jimmy Green is standing in line at the White House, and Joe Biden approaches him, and I could see that they'd met many times. And I found out that Joe had been a real source of comfort to that family. He gave them his cell phone number, and they said he understands child loss, he understands grief. And he said, if you need to, you go home. He said they're gonna wanna cart you around about this issue, but when you need to go home, you go home. And he comforted that family, and he stayed connected to them. And that's when I knew the kind of person that Joe Biden was. Yeah, and we have the power. We do have the power to keep our children safe and make sure every one of them has a good education, no matter their zip code. And we have the power to make sure that every American can live a life with dignity, no matter what they look like, where they're from, or whom they love. And yes, by the way, we can use this power. How do we use it? By electing Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Roy Cooper, Cal Cunningham, and all the Democrats down the ballot. That's right. And if you're ever worried about what people are gonna think about you for sharing your true feelings, about humanity, you shake that off. Don't let anyone stop you from doing what you know in your heart is right. Yes, we will work together because we're gonna win this thing. And it's because of you. Yeah, and one of the reasons I'm so excited, I'm so fired up, I'm so proud is because when we send Joe Biden to the White House, we will also be sending Dr. Jill Biden to the White House. And I have to say, she's the coolest. She's the coolest teacher. She's so much fun. I've had the pleasure of spending time with her. She's brilliant and she's a patriot. And she spent her life doing nothing but good for as many people as possible. From helping military families to fighting against breast cancer to championing the importance of education and community colleges. Dr. Jill Biden has never stopped working to build a better America for all of us. And did you see the event this year where Joe was speaking and people came up to attack him? Did anyone see that? Did you see what Dr. Jill did? All of a sudden, she became like a Golden Gloves boxer. She was bobbing and weaving and knocking people out of the way to protect her man and our future president. And I was like, I love this woman. And in her speech at the Democratic Convention this summer, Dr. Biden called on Americans to show up for each other in this time of crisis with love, with kindness, and with an unwavering faith in our power to make a difference in this world. And that's what we're gonna do over the next 3 days. That's not too much to ask, right? We got this, right? I know we do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Biden, welcome to North Carolina. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. If you don't like our president, we'll wait 3 days, and North Carolina will help elect your president. The Biden family runs deep because Joe Biden reminds me of the best of this nation, and so does Jill. In my own life, I'm blessed by an incredible mother, and my wife, Stephanie, and I are working to receive our foster care license to possibly foster and adopt children in our area. Both my mom and my wife work 40-hour-a-week jobs, and we all know that that means more than 40 hours a week. All of these women up on stage know what it's like to be worried about finances as packing lunches, about what's on the schedule for the work next day, as well as soccer practices. I reckon many of us feel that same way too. As I look at all the women in this crowd, I see that many of you know how to mother. Jill took up the task of raising stepchildren and integrating into a family that had been started before she arrived. She thrived, added to it, and continues to be a great mother to her kids and a grandmother to her grandchildren. Not only is Jill an incredible mother, but Dr. Biden is an educator and a committed academic who will be helping us heal not only our weary souls, but the policy system broken by the previous 4 years. Friends, I want to be honest with you. We need not only a commander-in-chief, we need a first lady who can offer those mother-like healing qualities to our nation. This week, what we do will define a generation, my generation. We are seeing record voting turnout, and we are seeing energy and enthusiasm and excitement of redeeming the soul of this nation. But you all in your cars know that when you're driving, you can't take your foot off the pedal. You have to keep the momentum up. You have to tell your friends and family to vote. You have to get to the polls. During the American Civil War, my four greats' uncle fought to divide this country as the commander of the Army of Northern Virginia, also known as the Confederate States of America's Army. I know that for me, I must recognize the pain caused by my family in that war. That said, I also recognize that the current president of the United States refuses to call off white supremacists and racists. It's saddening that we have a president like that. Honestly, he seems more like Jefferson Davis rather than Abraham Lincoln. It's saddening that we have a president who would rather divide and care more about his tweets than the black bodies that are dying in our streets. It is appalling that we have a president who cares more for his base rather than the very nation he swore to protect. The moment is now. We must be worthy of this hour. Please, if you haven't already, make a plan to vote. And check on your relatives and your friends to make sure they have plans to vote as well. Remember what I said at the when Senator Harris was here. If you love someone, tell them to vote. If you love someone, get to the polls. Now, I'm a preacher who refuses to end without hope, so we're not going to end with Donald Trump and electing him out of office. We have a choice between a racist demagogue and a future that is bleak, or a man who has given his life to public service. Joe Biden shows compassion at every turn. Our current president does not. I have high hopes that our nation, the United States of America, that has seen so much in our history, and this great state, the old North state, will make the right choice. The choice is up to us, and our hour is at hand. Friends, it is my task now to introduce to you the next First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
Means so much to you and your family and to your congregation. And you've been speaking out and fighting for racial equality here in North Carolina. And with all of your responsibilities, it means so much that you took the time to be with us today. So thank you. And Amy, you are such an amazingly funny and talented comedian and actress. But what I love about you most is how fearless you have been, speaking up for the causes that matter to you. And you understand that a platform is a blessing as well as a responsibility. So can we thank Amy again? I also want to thank Congressman Larkin Eggleston, Representative Shaz Beasley, Senator Mohammed, and Congresswoman Alma Adams. Alma, where are you? She's out here somewhere. So hello, Charlotte, and happy Halloween. You know, at the start of this campaign, I never imagined that I would be speaking to a car rally, and yet here we are. And I can't tell you how glad I am to be here with all of you and see and hear so much excitement for Joe. And I love the Joe and Jill on a stick. It's really funny. So as you might know, I teach writing in English at a community college. And over the course of this campaign, you know, I've thought a lot about the words we use and the stories that we tell that really shape our world. And Donald Trump has always known the power of words. And he has spent a lifetime attempting to cheat and lie his way into success and prestige and most of all, profit. You know, he tries to alter reality simply by renaming it, denigrating anyone who stands up to him, trying to just wish this pandemic away. He says that this virus has turned a corner. Instead, he has turned his back on us. Donald Trump wants to tell you a story about this country, that truth doesn't matter, that decency doesn't matter, that our voices do not matter. He wants us to believe that that's who we are, hateful and divided and angry. But he's wrong, isn't he, Charlotte? Democrats and Republicans, factory workers and nurses, military, parents, and educators from every corner of this country, we all want the same things, to work hard and make a good life for our families. But we can't do that right now. We can't do that because people are losing their jobs and their loved ones, because they're staying at home or working on the front lines without protection. We're all worried about paying our bills and whether our children will be safe when they go to school, just like Amy said. We aren't divided. We're just trying to survive the chaos of Donald Trump's America. But while this president tries to talk his way out of responsibility, my husband, Joe Biden, is a man of his word. Over the years of our marriage, you know, a lot has changed. But what has never changed is the character of the man I married. He's the man who came home every night from Washington, D.C., to tuck our kids into bed while I studied for my doctorate. The man who gives his cell number to grieving parents, as the Reverend said, because he needs them to know that even though their hearts are shattered, they aren't alone. The man who went back to work 4 days after our son died, because he knew that the American people needed their vice president. Joe has been knocked down, but he always gets back up. His strength of will is unstoppable. His faith is unshakable, because it's not in politicians or political parties or even himself. It's in the providence of God. It's in the potential of our country. Its faith is in you. It's in us. And I promise you, North Carolina, Joe Biden will be a president for all Americans. Pandemic, to rebuild, to reimagine a future that's better than ever. So right now, I want to take you into the future, into Joe Biden's America. So picture it. You wake up and it's a beautiful morning like it is right here today. You're sipping your coffee and you pick up the morning paper, and the headline isn't about some late night tweet storm. Instead, it's a story about the children, American children, who will benefit from universal pre-kindergarten. And then you turn on the television, and the anchors aren't talking anymore about the spikes in the COVID virus. Instead,